It's about time we got some more Tupac releases. Stay tuned. What's going on, everyone out there in YouTube land? It's your guy Q, the movie collector, here again, back with another video review. And on today's video, we're going to be reviewing another release from the Cinematographe line, or Cinematographe, however you want to call it. The other line from Vinegar Syndrome. And this release is really special because I really loved this movie growing up. And I'm talking about Gang Related. Oh, sorry, fingers in the way. Gang Related. So, a little bit of facts about Gang Related here. And this, if you're a hardcore Tupac Shakur fan, this was his very last film that he was a part of before he was murdered. Um, and I'm just gonna go into a little bit about Tupac. Most people know him as, a rap artist, a poet, even. But people forget that Tupac was an amazing actor. He was an amazing, amazing actor. Juice is one of my favorite, if not the favorite, Tupac role. I would even put his role in Poetic Justice as Lucky is my other favorite that I loved him in. He also did a film with Mickey Rourke that doesn't get talked about enough, which is called Bullet. And he also did Gang Related. Now, Gang Related. The movie may be called Gang Related, and I'll get into the details about that. But this movie has got Tupac in it. It's got Jim Belushi. It's also got Leela Rashawn. It's got James Earl Jones. It's got Dennis Quaid. It's also got Kumo D, the rapper Kumo D. If you don't know about Kumo D, how you like me now? But anyway, but yeah, the movie follows pretty much the Vice Squad, which is of Jake Rodriguez, who is portrayed by Tupac is playing as Jake Rodriguez, and you also got Frank Da Vinci that Jim Belushi plays as, and they are two partners that pretty much participate in doing these little schemes where they can put money in their pockets, but at the same time they get rid of the criminals off the street. And so the movie starts off where they've set up this drug deal with this kingpin, and next thing you know, he's getting the money. He gets in the car, he drives off, and Jim Belushi and Tupac, they get in the other car and they're driving alongside of him, and they kill the guy, which the guy's Kumo D's character. And then the next day, you see the crime scene, and you see them show up to the crime scene as, as being their Vice Squad detective work. And and so next thing, they go about their day, and then they get called in, and then next DEA shows up. And they basically show up to the police precinct to let them know, like, hey, the guy you guys found that was killed is actually a DEA agent that we had working a case for us. We need to find out who did the killing. So initially, before then, they tried to pin this on a gang-related murder. But then it becomes something entirely different. So then you start to see Jim Belushi and Tupac trying to, cover their trail, trying to get rid of things that actually lead to them being discovered or found out. And it's a really funny wild goose chase with them just trying to cover their tracks. But at many moments in this movie, they have very close calls. There's even some really funny aspects to when they're just pulling random people off the street and interrogating them and putting the murder weapon in their hand and saying, hey, it's got your fingerprints on it. So that was one of my favorite aspects of the film. And then also you get Dennis Quaid, who plays as a homeless guy. Like, you don't even recognize that's Dennis Quaid. I would say that's the one thing for this being a low budget film They did great makeup work with Dennis Quaid. You can't even tell it's him. Um, and they try to pin it on Dennis Quaid's character, the homeless guy. They get him drunk and get him to try to confess to everything, and he gets to confessing, saying that I'm the guy who shot the guy, and yada yada. And then at the same time, they're getting ready to go on trial for this whole DEA agent being murdered. They're in court for another trial of a murderer that they put behind bars, and come to find out, they can't find the murder weapon dependent on them. Turns out the murder weapon, they used that same murder weapon from evidence that killed the DEA agent. So, like I said, it's a great, great movie. And I will even go as far as to say this. This movie has sort of some dark comedy aspects to it because again, it's really great. They also have Lita Rashawn's character, which gosh, at that time period, Lita Rashawn was gorgeous. She plays as kind of like a stripper, aka Jim Belushi's girlfriend or side chick in this film. And then you also have what's his name? TC Carson, who uh he's typically he's from In Living Single. You've probably already you've seen him in Final Destination 2, and he also does the voice of Kratos. He plays the Bell's bondsman. And then you have James Earl Jones, who when he shows up in this film, his presence is felt. I mean, he's a lawyer. I don't want to spoil what happens, but when he shows up, it's really, really good stuff. But yeah, gang related, man. Cinematography, they did an amazing job with this set here. So in typical cinematograph fashion, you got the nice artwork here on the front. You've also got the features there. If you guys want to pause it there to look at the features, there's a long list of features for this film. And as you guys will see as well, there's my number that I got out of this. And this came directly from Vinegar Syndrome. I picked this up during the Vice sale that they had. So I saw this and I immediately had to grab it. And again, you get the nice little media book that they always do with the Cinematographe line. It's got a really good essay in here that really goes through a little bit of the aspects of it. I'm gonna see if I can kind of show you guys. Well, I can't show you. I'm doing like a really poor job with the book. So, but yeah, that is. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of really good write ups in here, and then you've got the disc here. So you got that disc. The one thing I will say, I wish, I know they'll do a whole lot of 4K, actual 4K discs with the Cinematograph line. I felt like that this should have gotten, and that may be the Tupac fan in me talking. I felt like this should have gotten like a 4K disc, but yeah, the movie comes loaded with special features. You get new audio commentary with writer director Jim Koof and executive producer Lynn Koof, which Lynn is his wife, so they both partnered up with doing this film. And then you get Sounds of a City, a new video interview with Jim Koof and Lynn Koof, which I really love that. They talk about the movie, but they also talk about at the time period of them making this film about how they went about getting Tupac to do this film. And at this time period, Tupac was with Death Row Records, which he released. I don't know how many times platinum the album is gone at this point. He released All Eyes on Me. And I think he was working on Machiavelli at the time that they shot this film. And they talk about all the personal conversations they had with Tupac. They talk about how Tupac told them that acting was his way out from being a rap star. Like he loved acting. And if people are not hip to the idea, Tupac started acting before he ever became a rapper. I mean, he went to the same acting school as Jada Pinkett. I mean, they were the best of friends, and he studied acting pretty well. Probably one of the really great triple threats ever because he was a poet, an actor, and a rap artist. And they talk about how he said that and said how, his music money was tied up in with Suge Knight, since Suge Knight owned Death Row Records, and how they couldn't touch his acting portion of it because that wasn't really a part of his contract with Death Row. And they talk about how they went about getting the two together, Jim Belushi and Tupac together to kind of rehearse scenes together. They talked about how in one particular scene where they were drinking, how Tupac really wanted to drink real alcohol to really bring the realness out in the scene. But yeah, that was a really, really great video interview. You've got a video interview with that's called Dream Opportunity, video interview with producer and co-president of Orion Pictures, Brad Crevoy, which he goes through basically talking about how his responsibility at the time was managing budgets, being able to shoot films on lower budgets, but also profit off of them as well. And you got Staying in Business, a new video interview with producer Steven Stabler. Shelf Life, a new video interview with executive in charge of music at Orion Pictures, Marcus Barone. Dynamic in His Range, a new video conference with Jonathan Abrams, author of The Come Up, an oral history of the rise of hip hop and the legacy of Tupac Shakur. That was a really good one too. I thought that was a really short but sweet featurette where the guy basically talks about Tupac's life just like I just described there. And I forgot to mention in one of those, I think it was the Dream Opportunity featurette, they talked about how Tupac showed up really late to set, and how Jim Belushi was pissed off and he pulled him to the side like, hey, don't do this again. And they said basically Tupac showed up on time every single time after that. But they got an anarchival I can't talk today, making a featurette, which that was pretty cool because it's old footage of Tupac, them interviewing Tupac, talking about the film or whatnot. The saddest thing about this film, with it being his final movie, is that he was able to shoot all his scenes. He was able to shoot every bit of it, and he wasn't able to make it to the premiere because literally 10 days of the film wrapping, he was murdered. So the movie didn't release until a full year later. But yeah, it left an impact. Again, I'll say this is one of my favorite Tupac movies that he's done. But anywho, let's get into the transfer. The transfer I thought looked amazing. This is a brand new 4K restoration from the original camera negative, which was approved by filmmaker Jim Koof. I thought it looked great. Even for it being a Blu-ray, it looked fantastic. It looked like I was watching it for the first time all over again. Nice amounts of grain, nice colors. You can see and make out everything. Even in the extremely dark scenes, you can make out a lot of stuff in this. But I thought it looked fantastic. You could actually put this in and pass it off as like a whole 4K. But I thought it looked amazing. You get the original theatrical 5.1 audio, which I thought it sounded pretty good. The music, the gunshots, everything sounded pretty great. But yeah, that is gang related from Cinematographe and Vinegar Syndrome. Now, I will say this is a pretty big Vinegar Syndrome fan. I personally feel like this hasn't been their best year. It really hasn't. But this release here is probably my favorite from them of the year. I love this. I love the amount of love they put into this release. And I will say, honestly, if you're not a hip hop head, if you're just into, because this is somewhat of a noir. This is somewhat like a noir film. If you're into films like that, this is I highly recommend you guys pick this up. Yeah, if you guys know of any Jim Belushi titles, which I don't think he's done a lot in films, but if you know of any where he's acting seriously, not the comedy stuff, but if he's acting seriously, I don't know what you guys recommend down in the comments. But as always, people, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Definitely appreciate all the support you guys have been giving the page lately. It means a whole lot. Got a lot of other great, exciting things coming on the horizon. But until next time, people, I will talk to you guys later. Peace.